take a look at these numbers. What you have in the small print here on the left, Ken Pomeroy, the guru of all numbers basketball guys. That's his rankings right now, the SEC. That was before last night's game, so it'll change a little bit, but not much. And then the NCAA NET formula, which is on the right, which, of course, they use when they set the tournament pairings. You see Tennessee 16th, 19th. They're 4th in the SEC. They're 5th in the SEC. Kind of not a surprise for a team that came into the year 18th and below in terms of the national rankings. But, Mark, I want to ask you, looking at that list, biggest surprise in the SEC so far?
Well, I can't even look at the word Vanderbilt without wanting to say curse words after the last couple of weeks. I look at them in Georgia. You know, Georgia's scoring a bunch of points, and so they're not even in that conversation, I don't believe. I think Alabama, the schedule that they're playing, they've got the ability to knock down shots on perimeter. They score. They get up and down. Yeah. They do really good ball screen offense. Now, they did lose kind of like their offensive coordinator, got a head job before the season, and so I think they're still trying to figure some things out offensively. But I really like Alabama. Florida, it's hard to continue to pick against them of what Todd Golden's done. And I still think Kentucky, they've had some losses that you've kind of scratched your head about in the way that they've lost. I still think that they're going to be a tough out in this conference, and then obviously come SEC tournament time.
Well, that's the interesting thing about whether this Tennessee team's ahead of schedule, behind schedule, on schedule. It really doesn't matter. Get back to me in February. You know, let's let them continue to grow, and it's who gets hot at the right time of year. So, I mean, Kentucky fans are sitting there right now saying, what's wrong?
Yeah. Well, but when you lose, that brings a lot of things to the forefront, and so all of a sudden you go up against Louisville, and if you don't beat Louisville, that's four in a row, and you're at home. Like all of a sudden, people start worrying about their shots and how they're looking and their draft status. We talked about Nate earlier. Yep. Like that becomes a real issue to try to manage in the locker room, and you don't have that floor leader like you did with Zakai to be able to handle that.
Biggest disappointment in the Southeastern Conference this year?
It's hard without seeing exactly who these teams have played at times. And, I just think it's so interesting when you look across the country, right? Purdue lost by 30 yesterday. Yes, Auburn lost to Michigan by 30, but, Michigan did that to Gonzaga as well. So, it's hard to think about who is the actual biggest loser in it all.
But it's early. You're not putting a tombstone there yet.
Yeah. But I'm still interested to see how Oklahoma comes around. I think they've got a solid recruiting base. They're competing with the Texases and the A&Ms. They got a lot more money in them in the portal. But I'm interested to see how Coach Moser does at Oklahoma, if they can get them over that hump.
Is there a player or a coach you would say has been disappointing so far?
I'm always watching Calipari. I just think it's interesting to see how he can what he can do with Arkansas, and they had a close one versus Duke, but it's interesting to see how he can manage this NIL and the culture of what is needed to win at Arkansas.
All right, who's the best team in the SEC, in your opinion?
Right now, it's hard for me to take a pick against Alabama.
Okay.
I think Alabama's got a lot of good pieces, and the way that they play, that tempo, and Nate does a great job. Those guys compete at a high level, and so I like the fact that Alabama.
And I got to ask you this. So many people know this. They knew Bruce Pearl. They knew Stephen Pearl. You were on the staff. You knew those guys.
Yeah.
Thoughts on how Stephen Pearl has done taking over for his father?
I think from where they're at right now, it's about if you asked me the same question, are they ahead of schedule, behind schedule? I'd say they're about where I thought they would be. Yeah. I think what's going to be interesting with a new coach, it doesn't matter if it's Stephen Pearl and he took over for his dad or any other coach. What happens when adversity hits? And they lost big last night to Arizona, and now how do they handle that adversity and that culture dynamics? Because when you're recruiting these guys in, everybody wants to play, everybody wants the exposure, and it's hard. You talk to coaches across college athletics right now, managing the locker room and the culture and the people around them is really hard. And with Steven not having a lot of experience in doing that, it's just interesting to see how it's going to play out.
I want to give you one announcement here. Give an assist to my top talent scout. I want what's best for you on this show, and of course, that means I have to send people out to find the very best people. And I assigned Mark Pankratz to go find us another top basketball analyst. So, starting later this month on our Saturday show and our Sunday show, former Vol coach Buzz Peterson will be joining us. And Mark, thank you for lining that up and getting me in touch with Buzz. Appreciate that. That'll be another good get.
He's a great guy, and we all know him from his coaching experience here.
Ball.
But he knows basketball, and he's still around it every day with his role at North Carolina and in the show. I mean, he'll be a great add to the show.
It'll be good. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week.